This is the synthetic signal report for Tuesday, April 14th, 2026, in the afternoon. Today's report analyzes the decision by Backblaze to halt backups for cloud sync folders and the growing movement to opt out of the Flock's safety surveillance network. We examine a privacy audit revealing that Meta, Google, and Microsoft continue to track users despite opt-out requests, and look at a new cryptographic proposal for a post-quantum Ethereum that functions without signatures. This analysis also covers the FDS crackdown on missing clinical trial data, a new hallucination-resistant memory architecture for agents called Synthius-Mem, and the implementation of drug price caps for Jardiance in Maryland. The backup provider Backblaze has officially stopped backing up folders associated with OneDrive and Dropbox. This change impacts users who rely on Backblaze as a secondary failsafe for files already synced to the cloud. Technical analysis indicates this is likely a response to the way modern cloud providers handle on-demand files. When a file is stored in the cloud, but not physically on the local disk, a traditional backup agent cannot capture it without triggering a full download, which creates massive bandwidth overhead and API conflicts. For power users, this represents a significant shift in data redundancy strategy. Backblaze is essentially forcing a distinction between syncing and backup. If a user does not have a local, physical copy of their OneDrive or Dropbox data, that data is now excluded from the Backblaze archive. This development highlights the increasing complexity of the infinite local drive, where the operating system masks the physical location of data, potentially leaving users vulnerable if their primary cloud provider experiences a service outage or account lockout. A new wave of privacy advocacy is targeting Flock Safety, a provider of automated license plate recognition systems used by law enforcement across the United States. Technical researchers and privacy advocates are now providing templates for users to contact Flock's privacy department to formally opt out of what they term domestic spying programs. Flock Safety operates a massive network of cameras that capture vehicle movements, creating a searchable database of where and when individuals travel. The push for a formal opt-out mechanism is a response to the lack of federal oversight regarding license plate data retention. Advocates argue that while Flock is a private company, its infrastructure creates a persistent surveillance dragnet. The strategy involves using state-level data privacy acts, specifically in California, to force the company to delete or anonymize specific plate data associated with an individual's identity. An independent privacy audit conducted by WebXray has found that Google, Meta, and Microsoft are frequently ignoring user opt-out requests in California. The audit checked the web traffic of major platforms and found that 55% of the sites analyzed still set advertising cookies, even after a user explicitly requested not to be tracked. This is a grounded, factual look at the gap between policy and technical implementation. Under the California Privacy Rights Act, these companies could face billions of dollars in fines if the state decides to prosecute. The audit reveals that the do not track signals and global privacy control headers are often ignored by back-end scripts that prioritize ad delivery over user preference. This report suggests that the current self-regulation model for digital advertising remains technically broken, as the underlying code for cookie placement does not consistently check the status of the opt-out flag before execution. This is a signal from the future. Ethereum researchers are currently evaluating a proposal for a post-quantum network that removes the need for traditional digital signatures entirely. The proposal connects two previously separate areas of cryptography: symmetric keyed hashing and zero-knowledge proofs. By using a scheme where the verifier and signer use a secret key through a zero-knowledge circuit, the network can remain secure even against quantum computers capable of breaking current encryption standards. This is an under-the-radar development because it represents a total architectural pivot for blockchain security, moving away from public key infrastructure toward a more resilient, hardware-agnostic model. In a related frontier development, the release of Synthius-Mem has achieved 94.4% accuracy in persona memory for artificial intelligence agents. Current large language models suffer from semantic drift, where long-term memory becomes corrupted by hallucinations over time. Synthius-Mem uses a brain-inspired architecture that separates fact extraction from contextual recall. This allows agents to maintain a consistent persona and memory across massive timescales without losing factual integrity. In adversarial testing, the system showed 99.6% robustness, meaning it is nearly impossible for a user to trick the agent into forgetting its established history or adopting a false memory. Community chatter is currently focused on the release of the Mythos model from Anthropic. Security analysts warn that Mythos is specifically capable of supercharging complex cyber attacks against the banking industry, which still relies heavily on legacy COBOL and mainframe systems. Experts on platforms like Mastodon and Reddit are debating the boiling frog effect of AI on human cognition, citing a new study that suggests a gradual decline in critical thinking skills among workers who use AI for more than 4 hours a day. In the tool space, keep an eye on TradClaw, an open-source agentic parenting manager designed to coordinate household tasks and schedules. In security news, Adobe has released a critical update for InCopy to address an out-of-bounds write vulnerability that could lead to remote code execution. Additionally, Unisys is facing scrutiny over its WebPerfect image suite, which exposes a deprecated .NET remoting channel that allows unauthenticated attackers to leak machine account hashes. Microsoft is also receiving backlash for a major price increase across the Surface PC lineup. Analysts suggest that rising costs for high-density RAM are being passed directly to the consumer, with flagship models now priced significantly higher than comparable MacBook Pro units. Finally, in world news, President Zelensky has described the recent victory of Peter Magyar over the Orbán regime in Hungary as a victory of light over darkness, signaling a potential shift in European support for the defense of Ukraine. This concludes the Synthetic Signal Report for Tuesday.